Hello. Hello to anybody there. Sorry I was delayed getting in. Just getting me Sunday tea. Bad timing, I know. But we're here. Any questions again or anything, feel free. And if I can answer them, I'll answer them. We've got two in at the moment. Happy days. Found it awkward. I'm still getting used to it. When I set up a live broadcast, whatever, still getting used to how you get back into it. Hello, Mick. How are you? You old buddy. I'm an happy camper. Yeah, it's sort of working. I proper mistimed me Sunday roast today. It's delicious, though. Not much it can get wrong with a roast, really. Been down to East Lancs Railway today and shot some pictures of steam trains and other stuff as well. I'll probably put them on Shedmouth Junction later. Got a couple of nice shots. 257 Squadron. Battle of Britain locomotive. Few nice shots of it. I didn't want to be out too long though. Hello Evie, how you doing, Chuck? Lovely you're in. I've been doing good. I've been out East Lancs Railway. I'll put some photos up later on your Facebook page. Let's have a look. Hello Valleys. How are you doing? So, what's everyone else been up to? Where have we been today, or have we been spending time on layouts? By your name, Val? Well, for a change, I did, Mick. I actually went to my local preservation society. I had a full English and washed it down with a pint of stout. Odd combination, isn't it? Sun was nearly over the yard arm when I had my stout with my breakfast, I have to confess. It was almost. So what have you been doing, Evie? Have you been anywhere with your pops today? Oh, fantastic. You've been to... Yeah, I looked at that on your video, Evie. It's a good little shop. Hello, Chris. I'll try and remember names. I'm not fantastic at names. Takes a bit to think it. I think I'm going a bit senile in my own old age. I call everyone at work Dave. I'm like Trigger. Yeah, sounds a good day, Evie. Yeah, I know, Dave. Brilliant, Mick. I've got the memory of a goldfish. Like that. Hey, hey, look at that castle. What castle? Yeah, it looks a really good shot, that Evie. If I'm ever down there, that neck of the woods, I'll have to visit. And yeah, we're going to say Valleys. Well, Chris, sorry. By your name, I was going to say you model Great Western stuff, presumably. But then and again, at Tyne Dock 9F, they were more a northeastern loco. They did get around, but they were more northeastern. Oh, yeah, I've got an evening star I'm gonna paint up into a normal 9F. Because I was gonna do it as an evening star. But when I saw the price of the decal set to do it, and etched brass plates and paints, by the time you got everything, you might as well have bought a decent 9F Hornby one because they're fairly cheap, and do the evening star I had into a normal 9F. Cool, nice stuff, Chris. Sounds interesting. Wow, Evie, year gone past already. Doesn't seem like 6 months. Unbelievable. Ah, chilling himself down, making the tea, your dad. Cool stuff. Mine was bad timing. Done a pork roast dinner. Yeah, it's more characterful, isn't it? Dirtied up, Chris. Definitely. I do like a bit of weathering. I mean, my layout's going to be early 80s BR blue, but I'm going to go into large logo here and some more of the more fun liveries. And yesterday, I've not done a video of it, but one end of that. Hang on. How did I switch my lights off last time? You won't believe it, I have a remote control light. Come. And I have a remote control and I switch it off by the switch. God damn it. There we go. Yeah, what I was just saying, I got a 86 we smashed. That cab front end was smashed. All the roof pillars were broken and everything. So I took the old glazing out I've glued it back together, made more pillars from an old knackered 86. Took pillars out of that to put into that. It's had flush glaze, put a new pantograph on it, a new junction box sort of thing. I got sabotaged a bit of the wiring, brown insulators from the roof there, because some of them were broken. It's had etched brass plates and flush glaze. Looks quite nice now. It'll look nice on way out. Just something to do last night while I was sat around. I'll probably weather it. Yeah, it looks okay. It's half passable. I wanted to build one. I didn't want to buy a mint one. I wanted to, restore one. Because my old fellow were a railwayman, and as well as cab riding most stuff that were around, most of Newton eats local fleets and DMUs. He used to take us out on trips because he got free passes and stuff. So I got to ride one of the early intercity 125s. But I used to go down London regular. He tried educating me and stuff. But we used to go man pick and get the electrics down to London and back. Happy days. I think last time I went on a London jaunt on railway, I think I was on a Virgin train. So I don't know how many years it is since they finished. Zebedee's nickname, cool. Yeah, it's... I was going to say, do you mean Zebedee was the 86's nickname, Paul? Because I believe they had problems with springs, didn't they? On the early ones, they sort of replaced the springs. Replace the springs and give them new numbering on the top system. The ones that had had the springs went on the passenger, and the ones that didn't went on freight. Interesting local, even though I didn't have a lot to do with them. Quite cool little thing. Certainly a British heritage thing. I didn't realise they were nicknamed Zebedee's though. That's quite funny. Pretty appropriate. But yeah, it used to get on them, and I'll never forget, if you went down London, when you're heading down to London, you used to get about, I think it were about 3/4 of the way there. And Ovaltine's farm was on your right hand side where they got all their eggs from, for Ovaltine. And you used to pass by, and I think if I remember rightly, they had a notice board up letting you know the fact. Like, good advertising, really. have your train ride, then when you get in and chilling out at night in London, have an Ovaltine and chill down. I don't think Ovaltine's as popular as it was nowadays. I think they have a vodka Red Bull now at night. Ironically, Chris, where I worked, that's just been electrified. It were all diesel. And my layout that I'm doing is where I used to work. And it's weird seeing it with all the catenary now and electric trains going through. We used to get a few local old freights, and used to get regularly a refuge train that were like intermodal containers. You got ballast trains, you got newspapers, empties coming back during the day from doing the newspapers. We got a scrap metal train that were old most evenings by 08 Shunter. So for me layout, I've already got a few ready. And I've got a Backman 08 Shunter. I've got a few I'm going to be doing, like, because there's 08s, I'll probably do them in turn. I've got one out to restore with her, but you had the 08 Shunter and the scrap wagons, and oh God, you had all sorts went through. We had the weed killer train through occasionally, keep the line clear. It really gives you quite a bit of scope, because we had the local old express to Glasgow through every day, and that was usually a 47 on that. And you had Blackpool, you had quite a few DMUs. So I've got a DMU, I've got a populate and do the interior. I may do DCC sound on it, I don't know yet. I'm unsure what I'm doing, whether I want to do it the full layout DCC. But I want it, if I can, if I do it DCC, to be able to run DC. I can believe it. I've been on a lot of the lines I used to go on as a kid, Chris, and they like jungles now compared to when I was a kid. You don't get the views off the train anymore unless you're in wide open countryside that they used to get. They've let all the greenery take over in a lot of areas. I suppose it's cheaper than fencing, but like you say, it grows quick. But yeah, it was. What else did we get down there? We got all sorts. And like I say, I've got a lot of different options with signalling. He'd had a junction there and all sorts of stuff. It was sort of secluded really as well, so you don't get. I'm trying to find photos of it, and for the aspects I can't recall, and I've not snapped myself. And Storm the Cross. Yeah, and you can put Manchester Victoria on and have loads of pictures. Put Windsor Bridge on, it's like a desert. Yeah, but it's amazing the variety of stuff you had on the railways in the 70s and 80s. I mean, today the most you can hope for is intermodals, which they're colourful and bright, I suppose, in the way, but the loco variation and the actual freight variation, there's not a great deal of choice with modern stuff. A lot of different liveries, like. Oh, that's better. As I say, apologies. Timing were terrible between the two this week. Well, yeah, it's been really enjoyable. I only had an hour or so down there today to photograph the Battle of Britain. Nice in BR livery and 257 Squadron. I don't know how long we've got it, but I've got a couple of nice shots for how long I put into it. If anybody wants to have a look at them, I'll put them up on EV and Shedmouth Junctions Facebook page if you look them up. It's a nice little model railway page. Give them a shout out because it's a lovely little page. It's family orientated, so I've got to behave on there, to be honest. No posting naughty memes and no swearing and stuff like that. I've got to behave. I'm bad at times, so I've got to behave when there's kids about and stuff. It's not fair being naughty if they're sharing and enjoying. Yeah, me too, Mick. I should have timed it an hour earlier, really. I'd have just about been finishing. But hey ho. Are you having anything good, Mick? So, does any, apart from Shedmouth Junction, do others have channels? Yeah, do you, Chris? Not sure if you do. You may well have. I may well have seen your videos. I'll do my best, Mick. I'll do me. All I can promise is I'll do my best. I ain't promising nothing. I've done well today. I've been really good today. Evening, Mark. You all right, fella? Nice to have you along. I've just been asking what all you've missed is asking what people are up to and what they've been doing today, etc. You've been doing anything interesting? Oh, fantastic, Evie. What's he having for tea? Anything good? I have that problem, Mick. I have that many things now. I wake up in the morning and decide to restore something, and then I go, no, I'll do this, or no, I'll do that. I've just so much stuff to do. And by the end of the day, I can't make up my mind doing what to do. So I end up doing nothing. Gonna have to get my arse in gear and get them done. Get some videos done. Very big cup of tea, Evie. That's not very filling. Where was the journey to and from? Oh, well, to and from, Mark. I'm presuming it was your son, daughter. I'll tell you what, Evie, this last couple of weeks I've been buying tea strainers and speciality teas and stuff. I might, undecided later, I might have a Darjeeling, might have an Earl Grey. Then again, I could have an Assam or the world's me lobster. It is, mate. It is, mate. Ah, right, get ya. So, sounds like, what do you call it, that? Oh, shit, trying to think of his name now. Manuel. I'm from Barcelona. Mr. Faulty. I'm from Barcelona. Joking apart, though, Barcelona's a lovely place. I'd like to visit. I did Benidorm, but it's not quite the same as Barcelona. I don't think they have nude pole dancers outside bars for a start in Barcelona, unless I've been going to the wrong area. Come here. Sorry, trying to catch a roasty. It was indeed, Evie. You need to watch it. Your dad needs to get you to watch Fawlty Towers. You'll love it, hilarious. Basil Fawlty, the well, what do you call him, John Cleese, he nearly knocked Manuel out a few times, hitting him when they were filming it. Oh, sounds beautiful, Paul. Sounds lovely, that. So I'll have to look that up. Good job I noticed that in me pork joint. Tomorrow it had been, I shit or not. Brilliant. He hit him with a spoon. Oh, he got it with all sorts of tray. He got it with everything, either. Yeah, he nearly knocked him out one time. Well, more than once. Very good comic actor, Andrew Sachs. He played Manuel excellent. Yeah, I think the one your dad's on about, he went, this, Basil, this, spoon, this, smack on head. Hilarious. Oh, that was lush. Yeah, so what eras and... Oh, hang on. Lovely. Lovely, pal. Last time I went down Norfolk, I nearly flattened somebody in my truck. Daft sod dark. There's a lot of dark places in Norfolk when you're driving. Pitch black road, I'm hammering down it in truck, looking for where I'm meant to be dropping off this car I had on back, because I drove a recovery truck. Next thing you know, this daft sod jumps out of hedgerow on a pitch black road because he saw a truck coming. I saw him at last minute, smoke coming off tyres, swerved away. A lot of swear words exchanged. Thought, I don't need this sort of stuff on a Sunday. Emergency job I was called to on a Sunday. Yeah, I can believe it. And make the Germans. We didn't start it. I didn't start it. Yeah, you did. You invaded Poland. Right. No, no, Evie. Take care, sweet pea. Have a good day tomorrow. In the late 1970s, I actually watched the episode where he beats the car with a stick. And I said to my brother, I said, have they shown the Germans one here? And he said, I don't know. Good evening, our other Irish brethren. How you doing, Arcadia? I don't know whether Mick's still in, but we have two in from the Emerald Isle. I see, me crackling's more chewy than crackling. I'll get that later when my teeth can get round it. I've not got that many left. Probably have considerably less after chewing that. But yeah. So have you been up to anything today, Arcadia? Yeah, I've just told people I've been to my local preservation society for photographing a spam can. Nice steamer. Oh, cool. Cool, yeah, because I don't know how Marklin worked. Are they metal straight through? Because you don't have to worry, I don't think. Because they three rail and pick up power off the middle. I'd imagine how it works. Do you have? Yeah, do you have the normal rails as say return, and you centre rail as your power on, Markley? Oh, right. How you doing? Yeah, she had a nice little chat, buddy. Nice having a chat with her. That one answers that. Thank you, Arcadia. I always wondered how they did the power. So you'd have to isolate the wheels if you use that. So, because I'd imagine they use metal straight through to both rails. So there's no insulation between them. Yeah, I've looked at some stuff like the old Hornby Dublo and some Marklin and wondered about converting them. Yeah. Yeah, I'd imagine they would be. I'd imagine it wouldn't be easy converting the locals. if you've got the chassis and everything to worry about. Oh, it's a sore point, that actually, Mark. The first local I ever owned was the Hornby Flying Scotsman with the lit up firebox and everything, but it had a fault on it, and my dad kept returning it to Beatty, and they never ever solved it proper, so we asked for his money back. And I didn't get a train set for a good few years after. I don't know what he spent the money on, but I didn't see anything back. I reckon he might have been skint that year, and he was deliberately undoing it himself and saying it's broke again. But yeah, strangely enough, mine were one without, or I don't remember having the chuff chuff sound. I think when mine was one with just the lit firebox. Mine was quite a bit earlier, Mark. Mine was, I'd say I got mine about 73, 74. That's again, may have been earlier, to be honest. It may have been about between 70 and 72. But my next one I got after were late 70s. And he got me a Lima 4F and passenger carriages in HO, and I loved that one. It just ran and ran and ran. Never serviced it. You just put it on the rails and it went. Not a bit of problem with it. And which was surprising, really, because I only had the Lima tracks, and they were an awful grade of steel in the tracks. I'm thinking of doing it, although if I'm doing DCC for my layout, Shedmouth, I'm going to be fitting my own, is it ECU, sound decoders and fitting speakers. I've done one already. I've done a class 40, class 47, ready for the project. Well, I think I'll just be doing the locals and DMUs that I'm using on my layout. Yeah, they conduct fine. They just need a lot more cleaning. Which is what I'm saying. I was surprised. Because I really cleaned it when I was a kid. Rather you than me on that one, Mark. Engage 009. That'll be good fun doing Engage 009 and stuff. Jeez. I'd have done that the other way around. Done my DCC on the 00 and left the Engage and 009 DC. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, Arcadia, and I've watched this, my latest video. I actually took an old 01 chip out of a mallard. And that, back in the day, that was going to be all singing and dancing. But recently, there's no settling down. They started off 8-pin decoder or whatever, then however many pins, then however. Now you go in Bluetooth. I'm not getting in a game of forever keeping up with the latest fad. I'm just waiting for them to settle down and say, right, everyone's just using this one idea of DCC. And as far as I can see, I think it's ECU that do them, or ECW decoders. And I'll stick with them if I'm getting them. But I'm not getting into all this. If you need this upgrading, you need that upgrading. You need this firmware, you need that firmware. Why? Why? Once you've got up to having sounds, lights, and everything in your control, that's all you need. You don't need any further than that. You don't need to be going, you need this patch, you need that. They sound good, they've got good lighting, they're just going too far with it now. And something new every month or whatever. Yeah. Gauge Master do some neat stuff, Arcadia. One of my friends used to be the rep for the UK. He used to be Gauge Master rep for UK, so we got stuff off him and stuff. I think he's retired now. Yeah, it is Shedmouth. I want it to steady out before I'm starting investing in it. It's getting ridiculous every time you turn round. It's, oh, that chip were all right, but change to this chip. And no, you're all right. It's £100 a time for one. Well, £100 upwards for one loco. What's that about? If you want sound and everything. Nah, see ya. You know, Paul, on TT gauge, I'm with you on that. I don't get it. Yeah, it's a pure scale. But if TT were going to catch on, it'd have caught on in the 60s when it was brought out. If it were that good an idea. See, the thing is now, N-gauge has got a vast range. Double O gauge has got a vast range. And I think Hornby was snidey, really. Because they wouldn't give TT out to retailers to sell in the shops. Now, if you put a TT loco, and this is why they wouldn't want it in the shops, if you put a TT loco against N-gauge, there's very, very little difference. And a lot of people are saying, like older fellas, oh, it'll be easier for me to handle. No, it won't. There's virtually no size difference. It'll be pretty much just the same. Yeah, kid, you're on. Hornby's in £25 million worth of losses. Serious trouble. They've lost I think it's Hornby Hobbies as an whole, which includes Airfix, Hornby, Corgi. It involves a lot of stuff. The foreign stuff like the own Markling now, they bought Liam. It includes a big model base, but on the whole, they've lost 25 million. Oh, 100% Arcadia. You can't wipe 25 million off your profits and say you're doing well. The thing is, as well, what'll kill sales since last Christmas, you've had a lot of people that's been furloughed at home, twiddling their fingers, doing nothing. And they've done a lot of the work on the railways while they've been off, bought stuff while they've been off. They've topped up, they've had time to hunt round, buy stuff rather than being at work. And they've done all the buying and that and making stuff while they've been furloughed. Now they like, I don't need to for a good few months. Yeah. Well, I've looked what Hornby have in this country now. I'd say the only experienced person they had were Kohler, and he's still consulting to them, but he's retired, so to say. I don't think he were a retirement. I think he was pushed, but the thing is at Hornby, I've watched this staff, and all you have is a bunch of young bucks and young university grads, and they don't know as much as they'd like to think they do. Let's put it that way. There's none of them old enough to have any knowledge of steam trains. They might have gone to preservation societies and done some reading, but us out buggers were there when they were new. Sad to say. I remember steam running in my local area. But yeah, it's my mate's doing good at his small shop. He has well, I say it's small, it's small in surface area, but it's an Aladdin's cave. He uses every square millimetre of space, and he still manages to have a running layout down so you can have he's got it DCC and DC, so you can have play about with anything you're planning to buy. He does your tea, so you can have a tea and have a tinker about on layout. Yeah, for sure. We have a sports shop, and it's been in our area for decades. It's weathered every recession, and he managed it through COVID, but he's shut down now. They've called it a day. I think he was getting older, so near a retirement age, but I think as well a bit with the COVID that did it. The model shop where I am, what I use, Jim's, is near Bessie's of the Barn Metrolink station. It's our local tram system in Manchester. Is next door to that, more or less. Wherever, Mark. If I use eBay, I presume the best thing to do on eBay is presume the non-runners and bid accordingly. Unless you're specifically buying new boxed, bid accordingly that the non-runners. Because the amount that say, yeah, they're running, and you take them out the box, put them on track. I'd say about the hit ratio is 50% don't run when you get them, and they've said they run. So mainly what I do, I look around the Spurs or repairs, non-runners, and buy them. But a lot I buy on eBay. Some I buy from my local preservation society. Some I'll buy from my friend's shop. When I go in my friend's shop, I ask him if he hasn't any non-runners or any Spurs and repairs. Yeah, not everyone's as honest as you, Mark. You get a lot of people. You get a lot on eBay that are selling deceased estates. And to be honest, none of them know if they're running or not. And I think they just put down, yeah, it's running. Yeah, you get a lot of deceased estates, and you get some people that are just giving up the hobby. If they, like, you'll get older people, they downgrade to smaller premises or a smaller home. And if there's no room for layout, they'll probably keep a couple for on a shelf for their favourites and sell the rest on. There's all sorts of reasons. I've bought all sorts because I collect old dinky corgi matchbox. All that lot. I've got a shed load of them up here. Got loads of them. For me other channel, I do customs and restore old ones and stuff. But yeah, you're in about the 50%, I'd say, that do actually check them and give an honest opinion. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Never been out the box. Yeah, right, whatever. And then again, I bought one and he didn't say anything about it. We just advertised on BIMEC. I bought it and I fully believe that's never been out the box. It had all the original 1960s packing tissue. It had all the leaflets with it, the date it was made. I think it was 73 it was made. Like Hornby used to put it on. Looked at the wheels, they've never been on rails. And I opened it up to oil it. All the oil had dried up on the felt pads. It still had the felt pads in. And I looked on top, the clip on the top didn't even have a scratch from taking it out. So it had never been stripped. Hey, that's an idea. That might be something I do. Paul, a tatty pie wagon. Do an Hollands wagon. Sounds a good idea, that. I might just do one. Yeah, Hollands tatty pies. Yeah, I can put it on the back of ones when I've done a service or a revamp When it goes round the track and it comes round, go, tatty pie. Have you got some nice stuff today? Evie was saying, was it Armby's last day for selling off what were in the shop? Yeah, tatty pie set of wagons. That sounds cool. Yeah, I take it you'll put. I forgot your first name, Shedmouth. What's your first name? I've not heard it. I've not put mine on, mind you. Mine's Paul, for anyone that don't know. But I keep sitting there going, what's his first name? I'm sure I did look once because you used your own account. Martin, fantastic. Yeah, Evie was saying you went to the other little shop. I had a look at your video on that shop. It looks a cool little shop. If I ever visit that neck of the woods, I'll pop in it with you. See what I can purchase. Because I fancy doing down that way at some time. Have a chippy tea on Dawlish Seawall. Watching the trains go by. Sadly, the HSTs are gradually leaving. Do you still get the HSTs in Dawlish, Martin? Jesus, that's robbery, Mark. That's an absolute sting. You stung him for that. I've got to be honest, I never thought I'd see Intercity 125s fetching the money they do today. Got to be honest. Because it's odd, when I was a kid, it was the train that had come out, and my old fella got me a ride on one of the first one. Oh, that's a steal as well. Yeah, no, I've looked at that shop, Martin. It's a little Aladdin's cave, that. Hey, way to do it. If you're running it, first there, first served. Way to go. I wouldn't be having any guilt trips if I'd have done it. It's just about 25 quid upwards is the going rate for just the local on its own. I got a steal the other day. I got a box full of locomotive bodies. I actually bought it for one in particular. I've got a peek and I can't remember if I broke the buffer beam or it were already broke when I bought it. But I bought that one. It's the Manchester Regiment. But I've got the nameplates from Fox. So I'm going to scrape that off, sand it down, blend it in, put the new nameplates on, possibly weather it up. I've got flush glaze for it, and I should have a nice peak when it's done. I've got all sorts in that one. I got some sort of kraut body. I got an SNCF one. And it were only relatively cheap. And I've got a couple of them if I ever, I've got the one I've got is the blue and yellow Intercity. And if I ever want to buy one and change the livery, I've got them too. Change them over. But I got a box of bodies. It were only about 15 quid, I think. Yeah, they will be. They'll be out in everything because they'll have new lines coming up, and they'll be opening the shop. They'll be redoing the shop, so they'll want all the new lines in the shop. Jesus, that's robbery for the new APT. See, you don't know where it'll go at all, Martin. Sadly, it's not a good time, and I don't think Cola picked a good time at all to introduce TT. Because what they were thinking of, I don't know, because it was a failed original scale. Because you're either going to go to N, and let's be honest, if you're going towards N, you've got miles more choice of rolling stock, more choice of track, more choice of buildings. You've got all the American stock too you can choose from. It's never ending, and they're not even the same size, the same scale as European TT. The only thing that's same is the line. I don't get why they did what they. Time will tell if it takes off, but I don't think it's going to be as popular as they think it is. It's these modern whiz kids. They've probably seen the old scale and thought, let's give it a go. Yeah, people will like that, but they forget the reasons it failed in the first place. Gee, serious, Shedmer. I'll tell you what, if they're selling off a layout, it makes you wonder if they're selling off a layout on the main showroom too. Although, hang on, if it's in showroom, they may do another for a different. I don't know. You can't really tell if that's a thing for them, but yeah, it's an astronomical gamble investing in a failed scale at this time. And if you look at Hornby's, everybody blowing smoke up Hornby's arse, to be honest. If you look at what they offer, you've got 2 or 3 models. It's not an extensive range, but they bulked it out by doing re-liveries. And some they've done re-liveries and re-numbers. Whereas years ago, you either wouldn't have bothered, you'd have just run on with the numbers that were on. You wouldn't have bothered about the numbering. And in TT, is it really that noticeable to worry about renumbering them? How far do you go? Like, you can make up a rate with different numbers, but in the old days, like, people that are just bought a decal sheet off Fox and renumbered it themselves. Like, just build one carriage in that lift. But the thing is, if they did that, it'd make the TT range look as small as it is. I think he was wrong. I think it's right in their eyes. But the thing is, my biggest thing why I think Hornby didn't want it in the shops is it'd be on the shelves next to Engage, and people could do a visual comparison and go, well, hang on, I'm not gaining much over Engage. But Engage will fit more in. They can make a direct comparison, and I think if it had gone in the shops, it'd have sold worse, if I'm fully honest. But yeah, and another thing, we're getting it directly from them. They've kicked retailers in the nuts, and retailers have a long memory. Yeah, it's the last thing you do when you're in business, kick your retailers in nuts by denying them a product range. I mean, people, it has sold on its own merits, I suppose, but if it's not in shops for people to get a look at, get their hands on, see, that's another thing. People go in shops, get their hands on something, have a look and say, yeah, I like the look of that, I'll buy it. But did they have the confidence to say, people would have gone, yeah, I'll have a look at that and I'll buy it? Because you've got to sell it in mass numbers if you're investing. You can't just sell the train set here, a train set there. I'm watching one or two people are buying them and not committing full train sets, and train sets and extra parts they've bought. They're turning up on eBay already. And some, to be honest, they're selling for not much difference than on Hornby's website. So you'd think if Hornby were the only place you could get hold of them, like somebody puts one on eBay, you'd think, oh, even if it's a bit more expensive or whatever, there'd still be the market there for it. Yeah, you mentioned that before, Mick, making Matchbox smaller. I wouldn't like to say, to be honest. See, the difficult thing with that is you'd have to have a like-for-like model next to each other, say an old Matchbox Ford Capri next to a new Matchbox Ford Capri to compare the different sizes. Difficult to say unless you compare like for like. But yeah, I wonder who'll end up with that layout though, Shedma. That'd be an interesting layout to own. Yeah, it's a shit. I've got to be honest, if you're in retail, that's a no-no. It's a shit trick, Martin. It is, honestly, it's an absolute shit trick. That's why I stopped buying Hornby. Soon as they said, well, I'm not sending it out to retailers. And I were buying Hornby. I bought a few, like when they first brought out the little shunters, the diesel, the Sentinel. I couldn't make up my mind which livery to have, so I bought all three. Like you know, but now I won't buy any Hornby after what they've done to retailers. They've pulled a lot of tricks, and I was watching Kohler on a programme, and he were an arse. Like, they had a couple of little companies around the country. One were Rails of Sheffield, and they'd invested in tooling up and making their own locomotive. And Hornby decided to do the same locomotive at the same time. And like, pisses me off. You have all the choice. You're a massive company. Build something different. And Kohler on the programme, he was, oh, well, it's been our locomotive, the Terrier. Yeah, and doesn't stop you putting it on back burner and let him have his day and release something different. There's enough, even though most subjects have already been covered, there's still enough that hasn't. Yeah, I believe, but like I say, before I get too into it, Mick, I like getting a like-for-like model set up. Because that Chevy panel van, that's a modern matchbox. Compare, let's have a look if I've got a matchbox up here of rough comparison. Let's have a look, see what I can find. Oh, just for instance, it's a bit dusty now. But a custom I did with a big banger. Like, you've got the big banger there, and that's an American car, and that's modern matchbox against it. So if anything, I'd say, well, considering it's a commercial, I'd say they still both roughly 164 and both scaled about. See, the thing is, it depends what car you do. You have to be comparing like for like, really. Like this one's a Hot Wheels custom I did. An Hot Wheels 164. That's really dusty now. That was nice paint. I did a special custom paint on there. I did a water drop effect on it. But if you compare that, that's roughly the same sort of vehicle. Hang on. So roughly, not far off the same size. So it depends which you put up against which, I suppose. But back onto railway, yeah. See, the thing is as well, I've never been a big fan of Hornby since they got rid of all the British workers. They wanted to reduce the costs overhead. They never passed anything on to the buying public. They never dropped the prices when they moved to Hong Kong and China. Not on your Nelly, they give you nothing. And now the Chinese want a decent wage. Hornby are saying screw you, and they're moving stuff to India for the next cheap ride. They're abysmal employers. And I don't like being they're basically using sweatshop labour. And I don't really like paying for sweatshop labour. I'd rather get their old their old ones and restore them. I'm not paying you for... I'd pay a decent price for new if you had people making them in this country to a decent standard, British, like British workers making them to a decent standard. Buy them all day long. I'd pay for them, I'd save up for them. But while you're shafting everyone around, get rid of all your British workers. Next thing they want to do, get rid of all the Chinese workers. Do it in India. When India comes too expensive, move it over to, what do you call it, Bangladesh or wherever. When they get expensive, North Korea, wherever, they'll just country hop. Greedy. And all they have over here is a set university wallers. There's very little actual experience. To be honest, the experience, the manufacturing experience and building experience isn't here, it's in China. Them fellas are the one building them and engineering them and everything. All they're doing is sitting in a PC in this country. Yeah, it is, mate, most definitely. All they're doing is sitting in a PC, and I watched a programme on Armby. They give a girl that started there, a young girl started there, fresh out of university. They give her a car project for Scale Electric. She got it wrong. First one she was given, she got wrong. They had to redo it. It wasn't a big, granted, it wasn't a big error, but it was still an error. It was an error. A lot of modelers, they're experienced, and engineers that they used to have, they just wouldn't have made that error. And to be honest, what they're making now, Armby, I don't think they want you to repair it. Personally, I think they want you to pay the expensive price. Then when it goes wrong, it's too tricky to repair, or you can't get the spares, so you buy a replacement. It's crafty. It's what they called. First company to use it were Philips light bulbs. The light bulbs were lasting too long. At first, the first light bulbs they made, Philips. So they told them to make them last less time. And it's what's called built-in redundancy. And every manufacturer does it. They can make stuff to last, and they can make stuff you could service. But they don't want to. They want it to break down, and they want to sell you another unit in 5, 10 years, whatever. That's the way they work on it. See, the way we used to work it, I used to be an engineer, and I used to make compressors, air compressors. We sold them all over, and they were expensive. We was known as making the Rolls Royce of air compressors because they were rotary vane. And what I did on them, all the other lads were machinists and that, but I did the eye work to. I did finishing off. I did scallops around inlets by hand, and like I did beveled edges on them so they didn't snag up on the rotary blades, and I cleaned out all the black sand out of castings before they went off for machining. I cleared all the inside edges where I found black sand, and like did all sorts on them. Sometimes I'd do a bit of drilling and stuff, but I inspected them and a few I failed. Anybody else, any questions? Bloody hell, I've been on 1 hour, 25 minutes. Where did that go? So I might think about disappearing now. I think that's enough for tonight, isn't it, folks? They did indeed, Mick. They don't now. They don't want it to last. That's the problem. It's very. If I compare modern locomotives, I have a few new Armby, and they're like the old mainline made in China, fragile. They're not made to last. Granted, they run while they're running now. A lot of them run nice, but they've had a lot of Army products have the problems with motors, like bits falling off, and they're a typical Chinese product. Not to say I don't like them, but they need a lot of improvement on the quality control. Exactly, Mark. And the thing is, in the old days, you had the option. You don't have the option now. That's how you buy it straight from China. What you used to do in the old days, you'd get a basic loco, then cottage industry and aftermarket companies, they make detailing packs for them, like etched brass, resin, what do you call it, white metal. They do all add-on bits, and you could. I think one company still does it for the spam cans, because I might get some stuff for some old Triang I'm rebuilding. I bought a Spitfire the other week. For the main reason, I bought a Hornby Spitfire. I stripped it all down, and I'm going to rebuild it. And then I thought, well, actually, I like the model, so I bought a trash one. The paint's good, the bodywork's good, but somebody's took it apart. They broke the piston block, so I'll have to repair the piston block, put it back together. But it runs. I've already tested it. I'll see you during week, Mick. Nice having you along. I'll catch up with you during week. Who knows? Get what do you call him on? Get him on as well, and we can have a chat. Yeah, well, that's the thing. You see, they're offering what you used to buy back in day, say about 90s still, going back to 90s. You buy a basic loco, and you could buy additions if you wanted to take it up to exhibition standard. But everybody's buying exhibition standard now, ready made from China, but they're not comprehending. It's fragile. You give it to kids, they're knocking. The amount on eBay that kids have had, and they've absolutely trashed. Like, they're not really the type of thing you give to kids. You could give them the old Armby stuff, and they could batter it about a bit, and it'd still look good. You batter today's about, and it's not running 2 minutes after, or it pieces missing and looks awful. But I've seen some locos from Armby. They did a 66 for a Mediterranean shipping company, and it was bloody awful. I'll be honest, it was worst Armby product I've seen. All they didn't even bother setting up, printing, first side of it, doing the printing on it. They just did an overlying decal or sticker and they put it over all the detail on the side of a Class 66. And it was a Mediterranean shipping company. It could have been such a nice model, that, but Hornby made a proper hash of it. Oh yeah, that must be Nightmare Way mountain bikes though. It's a few years since I purchased a mountain bike. I had a severe accident and trashed my last one. I had a full suspension downhiller and I used to hammer it down hills, but this morning I used to work as a school caretaker, and going home from school, I worked in a village school, and it were a downhiller and wavy. I got to bottom, hit the brakes, brake cable snapped, had to lay it down straight into a stone wall, and I were probably doing about 40 mile an hour when I hit, because there were diesel on the ground and stuff. Stung a bit, straight into a stone wall. The option though, if I'd have kept it upright and I hadn't made corner, it were a 40-foot drop onto concrete. One of my legs is still wrecked from that. The other's wrecked from a major motorcycle accident I had. They call me lucky. Anyway, he's dying off now. I'm presuming people aren't wanting to ask stuff. We've got to end now, natural end. So I'm going to say, tatty pie, everyone. Tatty pie, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, I'll probably come on next week again. Have a blather next week. That's half my Scottish coming out. Having a blether. Anyway, tatty pie, everyone. Tatty pie. Gone. Find the bit closed down. Yeah, later's Mark. Nice having you along. Nice having you all along. Good little chat. Time's passed rapid. Bye.